Okay, I was gone, and now I'm back. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulty, but hopefully we have it corrected. Let's see. CBD patch. Exciting about that coming along. As you guys popping in, sorry again. Didn't mean to just fall off the cliff there. Anyways, I'm back. Here we go. I was talking about CBD, the update on when it's going to be available. Don't know. Hopefully soon. It could be tomorrow. It could be April. Like, seriously. So I'm sorry. Wish we all knew. Anyways, that's that. The last topic that I want to discuss today, as we have a few more minutes, is pretenders. And what's so funny about this is, I don't know if you guys follow Spiritual Awakening with JP. The long hair, red hair guy. He's just really funny. And yesterday I found this, shared it on my Instagram story about networkers. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious because I think we've all been in that situation, or, one of the things that I think Isogenics is especially Kelly and I have never, tried to coach up how to be insincere in networking, trying to get to Meredith watched it, trying to get to I just want to get something from you. And I think that's so unnatural to me. And so that's where, like, watching it, been in those situations, and it's hilarious. And I know that is a type of connecting that people teach. It's literally go to those events to see what you can get. And my standpoint is go to those places, network to serve. Don't network to get, network to serve, network to, connect to serve. And so I'm going to, here later this month, I get to do a segment on connecting. Maybe I'll practice, go through it, and do it on Zoom, record it so you guys can watch it. But it's about connecting. And I'm going to present that at Canadian Celebration, so all of our Canadian friends get to see that live. And the whole idea with connecting, and I get to have a conversation with Betsy Frame and Janny Elo. If you don't know them, they're our upline. And one of the great things that I think they're masterfully at is connecting to serve rather than get. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is pretenders. And again, this came from my morning routine, which I've actually added in a new piece of that routine. John Maxwell has what's called a Maxwell Minute. And so started to watch that, but I usually listen to this stuff when I'm driving the gym. And Darren Hardy, I've talked long about it. And today's was just like, wow. I had JP yesterday with networking, had Darren Hardy today about pretenders. And he goes, what's funny is you go to networking events, and he goes, it's really funny, as Darren said, and I've seen this. You go to events, and I've been guilty of it both ways. I've been guilty to a fault. So I can say that's one of sometimes my insecurities, is that I try to either fill conversations with words or whatever else. But where you're comfortable, I think is important. But talking about pretenders. And he said in networking and social media, he talks a lot about in regards to social media, is when people go to, a networking event and they start boasting about who they are and what they are. And he's like, I know who they are and what they are. And they ain't half of what they're telling everyone in regards to their business. Isn't that? I'm not judging people. It's just like, okay, you present yourself like something you aren't. You're kind of a pretender. But then the people that are really, the ones that are making a difference, the people that are really serving people, growing, he goes, what's funny about them is I've realized, he goes, they're the ones asking questions. They're ones inquiring. They're the ones that you would have no idea that have, some of the highest net worth in the room. They're the ones that are, finding out how they can connect people with others. They're the ones that are you're really there trying to serve as opposed to get. And he goes, what's funny is you get on social media and it's the same story. He goes, when you're out there on social media and you're just trying to, say, what can I get? How can I get it? Where can I get my money? As some people say, you got it all backwards. And you may see those people take off like a rocket. meaning that they can have like this blip of success. Oh, that's the way to do it. And then all of a sudden the law of the lid sets in and they go right back to where they were. Or people figure out what they really are and really what their intentions are. And then all of a sudden they're constantly going through the hamster wheel, chasing and chasing and chasing and trying to get people. I've heard stories about other people in, I would say in isogenics, but in period that, they sit down and have parties about who can reach out to the most people in an hour. I'm like, really? Let me tell you a story about a lady. Let me tell you a story about a lady that sat on an airplane for 2.5 hours. She sat on an airplane with a girl for 2.5 hours and had a conversation. She asked questions. She found out what was important to her. She found out what was maybe, something that she didn't necessarily like about her life, but not in a way, oh my goodness, poor you. She asked questions to share her heart and find her heart. And at the end of it, she goes, I think I have something for you. And it was easy. It was simple. It was nonchalant. And it was kind of take it or leave it. But there was so much trust developed in that 2.5 hour period that led to every single person here watching. So when you think about pretending, you think about trying to connect, you think about trying to pitch somebody, you think about trying to, do whatever in regards to social media, think I'm going to get them. We talk a lot about samples, and samples are great to start to have the conversation. But if you're looking at samples saying, how many of those can I enroll? You're going to be in a miserable spot next week because it'll be all over the same again. But when you're looking at how can I serve, how can I improve somebody's life? And all they ever get is 2 beers. All they ever get is a packet of shake, but they get to see your heart. They get to see that you just care and want them to experience something different. And if that's what opens the door, because you don't have 2.5 hours to sit on an airplane and develop a real conversation, then that's okay. But if you're using social media, if you're going to events, if you're walking around at your kid's sports game, trying to figure out who you can get, I'm not going to be a jerk. I would love to help you see a better way. A jerk would say, go, leave, find another company. I'm not going to do that because I might have been that person at some point. So I realize somebody could say that and that'd be really hurtful. But it really, in my heart, it's like, I just want to help you see a better way of sharing your heart with people. And if you consistently share your heart with people and just serve them, you'll get everything you want and then more beyond whatever you imagined. So the idea of being a pretender, in other words, trying to show, what's so funny is Darren was talking about this and it's funny. And I'd love to share it with you guys. And if you don't hear a description of Kelly on it, please correct me because then my lens is off. And he talks about the people on social media that are sharing about their lavish trips and about their cars and are about this and that. So is that what you want? And then there's the people that share about how, the great story of somebody's life transformed. Like one of the people that I love to follow, John Gordon. He's an author. I get to interview him. I can't say I know him real well, but I kind of know him. And I love how positive he is. And he's the first one to say he wasn't a positive dude. He was cranky. He was born in a negative Nelly family, and he had to learn and grow and change. And yet everything he shares is positive. And it's like, I want to be a part of his team. And I was listening to John Maxwell's latest book. This was by no means meant to be a rant, because it kind of sounds like a rant. It's just talking from my heart here. John Gordon talks about his time, John Maxwell in his latest book, The Leader's Greatest Return, talks about his time mentoring with John Wooden. And John tells him this story about coaching, and he had this guy, Sidney Wicks, amazing basketball player, and he was the most talented player, period, as a freshman, and he could just do things that people couldn't do. And so whenever John would play him, the team sucked because it'd be all about him. And whenever he didn't play, the team played better. So he kind of talked to him. It's like, hey, dude, this isn't working. So what did he do? He put him on the bench for multiple games. Put him on the bench. And the guy's like, dude, coach, I'm the best player. And John, and probably all of his transparent and fatherly wisdom, said, yeah, Sydney, you are. But here's the deal. The team doesn't play the best when you're on the court. And so the lesson I learned in that, and tying this all together, because it's all together, is does the team play the best when you're on the court, or are you just best player on the team? Because those two don't go hand in hand together always. And part of pretending is being the best player on the court, but not helping the team play the best. And helping the team play the best is making it not about you and how can you serve, how can you help others, how can you sit on the bench and encourage others, how can you sit on the bench and sit next to the guy next to you and say, hey, when you're getting that pick, roll off of that, fight through it, do whatever to help him be better. I'm using basketball terms, blame, go with this. And so one of the things that I kind of want to say there is stop pretending. We have something much, much better than pretending. And as some wise people have said, I'd rather have 10 people that are all in rather than 1,000 people that are lukewarm. And I think that's something that I just wanted and felt like to share is like, hey, stop pretending. We all pretend and we all get caught in it. It can be an insecurity. I'm guilty of it. But at the same point, recognize it and, help someone. If you're close enough to someone and say, hey, knock, knock. Sorry, dude. Quit pretending. Not getting you anywhere. Be you, because I like you for you. Do them a favor and do that because we'd all help each other. And, when it comes to networking and social media, it's like, do it to serve. Do it to help someone be better. Don't tear people down and don't pretend like you have things that you don't have. And it doesn't mean that you need to go on and on about what things you don't like in life or, whatever else, but it's also not being boastful because is that really serving people? Because it's not about that. So anyways, that's what I got today. Had no intention to kind of, again, I feel bad if that took it as a rant, wasn't a rant. I can get passionate about it. And here's what my solution is. Go connect with people and just connect with people. And if that means that you can find a way to serve them, great. And if it just means that the next time you walk in there, you can smile and know that you try to help them. Even if you talk to them about Ice Shanks, like, dude, I think Ice Shanks would be great. I'd love to have you on my team. And it made me like really stop and think. It's like, how many people am I going out there saying, hey, dude, I really like you. I like what you're about. I see the skill set you have, and I'd love to have you on my team. And approaching it in that way, saying, hey, I want you on my team. But then also realizing that the best player, sometimes if they don't help the team get better, you don't want them on your team. So this is what it is. Thought I'd share that. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining in. Sorry I had 2 takes. 2 take Thursday. Take 2. See you guys tomorrow.